Hello, hello, hello. Join me today. Join me today. Waiting for you guys to come on. It's that time. 6 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock. Time to cook with your lifestyle expert, Rita Fuller-Yates. Waiting for you to join me today. Have a special treat for you guys. We're making shrimp fettuccine. It's one of my family's staple meals. I learned it a few years ago from one of Columbus's best chefs, Lori. She would cook for my family while I was raising my family, and this was one of the dishes that we loved. So instead of having her cook it all the time, I finally asked her her great recipe, and she taught it to me. Hello. I don't see any names yet. I think we're having some. Just waiting for you guys to come on, tag and share. This is how the community works on Facebook Live. You tag me, you share me, you tag me, you share me. I don't see any names, so not yet. Maybe it's a... Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead under the assumption that you can see me and I can't see you. Some of the things that you need in order to be successful in making this meal, I already completed because, of course, we want to be respectful of time. It is Facebook Live and everybody don't have time. This is a quicker process to get through in order to make the shrimp fettuccine. So, but every week, you know, I love to stop and recognize people who have made an impact in my life, whether it be a small business owner or a group of people or an individual or an artist. And this individual is all of this. I talk about her every week. I love her. Draped in Elan is the individual who's responsible for all of my custom-made aprons. If you see here, I have one here. You see my initials there? That's custom-made, baby. R-L-F. R-F-Y. That's my old initials. R-F-Y is my new initials. And she made this for me. And I had to go on record not only talking about how fabulous of an artist that she is, but to talk about the gift. When you stop and recognize that people can think of you when you're not thinking of anything else, and you walk into the my mail room and you get a box, and I start thinking and processing like, did I order that? I don't remember paying for that. And then at the end of the hour, it comes out to be a surprise. I'm a rock star. I love surprises. And I didn't expect it. So I guess that is what a surprise is, right? So again, I like to thank those that thought of me. Draped in Elan, you're a sweetie. I appreciate you. You're going on record. I'm going on record saying that once I make it, do y'all know that I'm going to make it? Once I make it, did y'all know I'm going to make it? Once I make it, Draped in Elan is going along with me. So this is what a community is about. It's all in your attitude and how it is that we learn to share with one another. Because you never know who it is that's going to get that next breakthrough. That's why you got to be careful of those relationships that we create with one another. Because ultimately, at the end of the hour, if you're great and good to people, people will remember you, and people will take care of you, and people will cherish you, and people will send you beautiful things like this. Isn't that fabulous? So once again, we don't want to forget that she is an artist, but I want to go on record saying thanks again, Draped in Elan. You are absolutely fabulous. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I went to the Rib Fest today, and I went on Friday too, but I am always so confused on what to eat at the Rib Fest. I asked you guys, everybody seems that they just pick a place. They probably pick the longest line. Well, I don't think that's a good technique, because as a marketer myself, I would use that technique by buying people to staff my line, and at the end of the hour, you would think that my ribs was better than everybody else. No, marketing, baby. Think about it. So I went around to the food at the festival, started looking at the ribs themselves, and I found a dynamic rib company. And I'm going to share it with you so that if you happen to go this evening, look them up. The name of the rib place is called Bad Wolf Ribs. It's located right off of the Broad Street entrance. So you know they have the Broad Street entrance, they've got the High Street entrance, and they have the one, I think it's, the other one off the other bridge. I don't know much about directions. I'm a cook, you know. So, anyway. But check them out, even if you have to ask. Bad Wolf Ribs, Kansas City style, were absolutely fabulous. That was my recommendation for you guys. And of course, we want to go on record saying that I ate it, and it was great. Recommend it. Highly recommend it. Okay, let's get started. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Hey, Nita B. That's my baby. And I got, Rhonda. You guys, Rhonda drum right. We're about to work on something. We're about to surprise y'all socks off. I'm so excited about that. Because again, when we understand that we don't have to compete and we can live in our own elements and other people's elements can just make us stronger, that's where we become a beautiful woman community. So watch out for Rhonda. We're going to be doing something in the next couple of months. I'm so excited. There's my mama. Y'all take care of our mama now. That's Roberta Amerson, better known as Gaga. Please take care of her. If y'all see her, that's my mama. Take care of her now. Okay? All right. Let's get started. I already pre-prepared the onions as well as the mushrooms because, again, I want to make sure that we are conservative with our time. All I did was saute these with some salt and pepper on them for about 4 or 5 minutes at the most. Just enough for it to get a little soft. We don't want it overdone where they're droopy, but we want it to be where they're soft and tender. The next thing I'm going to do in front of you is I'm going to saute some shrimp because, as I said before, we're making shrimp fettuccine. This is the easy part, but the most difficult part of the meal is making the fettuccine. So I'm going to help you guys with that process. And this is all homemade, baby, taught by my chef. So when I tell y'all, y'all are learning something that would cost you probably $25 at Bravo's, yeah, check this out. So what we're going to do, so I'm going to get my butter over here. So we're trying to work and learn our angles as we cook because sometimes I'm cooking at the kitchen, at the stove. Other times I'm chopping at the counter. So I am still learning the angles of the camera. So give me a minute while I grab the butter. I would suggest using about a scoop of butter in your stove, in your skillet. Turn down this water. That is for the noodles that we're going to make. Now what I did was I bought sauteed shrimp, or I bought shrimp that I'm about to saute, but let me show you the type of shrimp that I bought. Raw shrimp from Kroger's. Now, mind you, it's tail off, peeled, and deveined. It says deveined. Now, that's not true. I would highly recommend you redevein because there's always some type of fine line in there that defines that it's not very clean. Some people may say, well, how do you do that? So I'm going to help you. Most people already know, so just ignore this process if you know it. But maybe a millennial or someone that's new to cooking may not know, so I'm going to help you out. Here is a typical shrimp that you would buy. It's raw shrimp. Inside of the raw shrimp is normally a vein. That vein is what basically their shit chute, to be honest with you. So we don't want to eat that, right? So how I normally do it is I'll dig my hand in there, my finger, my thumb, or you can cut it open. The professionals cut it open and take it out. I'm just going to use my hand to take it out. And how you'll notice that it's out is it's really just a little dark piece of vein. And it'll come out pretty smooth, and you take it out all the way through to the end of the tail. At that point, you have a pretty clean piece of shrimp. Then I cut it up because I don't like, personally, big pieces of shrimp in my fettuccine. Once I cut it up, I should use a chopping board, but just for the sake of time to show you guys. And I'm going to put the rest of these in here so that you can see the process of sauteing the shrimp. Now this takes normally about, oh, I left a big one in there. This normally takes about 5-10 minutes. You put it on medium, a little higher than medium, and saute it till it's not brown. You don't want to overcook your shrimp, but you want to definitely cook it. So I would say, again, we're going to cook this for about 5 minutes. And at that point, hey, Levitica. That's my girl. Oh, my God. We get in trouble. Oh, my God. Levitica is my girlfriend from college. And when I tell you we are a mess together, we are a mess. We went to an event last week. Another girlfriend of mine who was getting married, Laura Harris Williams. If you don't know, she's a very talented minister. Look her up. But my girlfriend, we was at the event, and Levitica, you know we wasn't right. Think we was about to get kicked out of the daggone bridal shower just because we was just enjoying one another's company. You know, when you don't see each other. She flew in from Atlanta. Again, just a great friend. That's what we do, is when you care about people, you will go those extra mile to be with them and to celebrate them. That's what it's all about. But we were a mess. We were just so loud, cracking up. We didn't play the games. But I love that girl. Thanks, Levitica, for supporting me and sharing all those wonderful college experiences that we had. Now, mind you, while this shrimp is sauteing, one of the biggest challenges is overcooking it, because we're going to put it back in the heat once you have finished it. So you don't want to overcook it. So I'm about to get ready to take it out. Just as long as you start seeing a little pink around the edges, that's a good indication that it's almost finished. Now I'm going to take that out. Now I cooked it in butter, so I don't need to drain the butter off of it. So I'll just go ahead and put it in the bowl for now, because the hardest part, as I told you guys earlier, is the fettuccine. So I want to get that started as soon as possible. And then what I'll do is we'll finish the meal, and as usual, I will post it at that time. Yep. Should have. Okay, there we go. I will post it at that time as a completed product so that you can see it for yourself what yours should look like. Again, we don't do none of this in vain, right? I don't do nothing in vain. If it doesn't have purpose, it ain't for me. Don't put Rita Fuller-Yates on anything that doesn't have purpose. If it don't have purpose, it's not for me. It's not personal. It's just how I roll at almost 50. It's got to have purpose. Okay, so next what I suggest is to go ahead and get your noodles started. It's just fettuccine. I don't use or care about any particular brand. My biggest thing is making sure that it's fettuccine. Now you can use spaghetti and you can use other forms of pasta. The challenge is the stick. So fettuccine has a natural stick to it, which allows for it to mix better when you have it with something soupy like a fettuccine. And that's why they make fettuccine versus having you use spaghetti noodles. So it's another good tip for you. I'm just telling you all type of secrets today. Okay, here we go. Now, everybody knows there's different ways that you can cook your noodles. I like to cook mine by cutting them in half, breaking them in half, because then at that point, they're not as long. And I don't have to worry about using the fork so much. So that's what I do, and then I put a little salt. Some people put oil. Hasn't been determined yet if that's really good, bad, or indifferent. But I'm going to get the salt as well as the little pepper. Wouldn't put pepper so much in your salt, but on the rest of these products, I'll go ahead and add a little bit of salt and pepper. Never can go wrong with adding a little bit of salt and pepper. Okay, so we're doing that and done with that. Next thing we're going to do is get ready to make our fettuccine. As I said before, this is the most difficult part, so just pay attention. What we are going to use is, you need heavy cream, heavy whipping cream. I use chicken broth just to add for added flavor. You can use just regular like vegetable broth, I would suggest. As well as you'll need shaved Parmesan cheese. Now, of course, the shaved Parmesan cheese, there's many different options as well as different brands. It doesn't matter. I recommend using a heavier, real Parmesan versus the kind that is in a bag, because this creates more of a flavor for your fettuccine. You can get some water. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is get your butter. I got my butter somewhere. Here we go. I'm going to put some butter in the pan. Now my pan's a little too hot right now because I was talking too much. So I don't want my butter to burn. I'll take that off the stove a little bit because now my butter's burned, because now the skillet is super hot. Which is okay. Got a little bit of fettuccine in there. Next thing we're going to do is put a little bit of chicken broth in there. And I'd say just like a half a cup. This is the heavy duty part. You're going to use some heavy cream. I'd say another half a cup. Now the tricky thing about fettuccine is you add more as you taste it, because everybody likes it a little stronger or a little thicker or a little thinner, and it's all your preference. And what I suggest you do is, as it's cooking, you begin adding water. Don't add a lot of water though, because we're going to continue to add water, because what happens is the heavy cream makes it really thick, and we don't want to make it really thick. We want to make it smooth. But sometimes you don't know the consistency of the heat, so to avoid that, what I always suggest is to do it slowly. Now the goal that you're trying to obtain is a little boil as well as a little thinness. It's almost a milky substance. But you don't want it to get thick. We don't want it real creamy. We want it light. And the only way you normally can get it light is to do it slowly. And so for this process, I want to make sure you guys understand that it's going to take a while, because you're going to be adding things as you go along. So we had the broth, chicken broth. We added the heavy cream and some water. The last thing we're going to add very lightly, or I should say in small portions, is your Parmesan shaved cheese. At that point, I'm going to use all of this, and this was about a half a cup left. I'm going to use all of it, but I'm not going to use it all at once because the cheese is going to start melting. And when it begins melting, you don't want it to gulp and create a big gulpy material at the bottom of your skillet. So what I suggest is, again, all three of these processes are very slow. And the whole time you're stirring it to avoid it from the cheese from sticking, right? We don't want the cheese to stick. Now, here goes my little noodles over here. It doesn't look like I have a lot of water over here because I had the water on boiling a little longer than what I should. So I'll add a little more water in there while I'm at it. It's already hot. It's okay. Now, some people say, and with this process, make sure you add your salt and your pepper and a little garlic. There's my salt, pepper. I do everything in dashes now. I'm like my grandma on that. My grandma didn't know how to measure anything. So what I call it is dashing. A couple of dashes. When you get good, you can start dashing. You only need a 1/3 cup of garlic. And plus, y'all know I ain't like that no way, right? Y'all know that this is what I do because I need to eat and I need to entertain. And when I eat and entertain, I want it to be great. So I had to learn these little tricky processes myself. But I told y'all that my chef helped me learn this. This is garlic powder. You can use garlic powder or garlic salt. Salt just adds a little more salt versus powder. So that's a little more dashes there. Now somebody may say, how do you know it's ready? This is the secret that chefs don't want to tell you. Taste it. So what I do is I stick my finger in there and I go like this. Not enough cheese. So it's now time for more cheese. Adding more cheese. Here we go. Who went to the Rib Fest this weekend? I know it rained. I know. We don't like it to rain during the summer months because this is the time we get out and have a good time. But I went 2 days, Friday night as well as today, just for a couple minutes. And like I said, check them out. Check the company out, Bad Wolf. If you're still going out tonight, tell them I told you. All about Bad Wolf. It was a fabulous rib. Sometimes you can get those things, and those things are not cheap. Let's just be honest. When you go to Rib Fest, you better have a hundo. And that ain't eating a couple of spots. That's literally, if you got someone with you, that's just your meal and some drinks. So, let's go ahead and continue to mix this in. It'll start simmering as well as boiling, as you see. That's about right. Add a little more cream. Now, again, everybody's taste is different. That's why I recommend you tasting it. Don't go by the exact ingredient of someone else. I gave you the recipe. Now follow the recipe. But add and take away based on your own preference. That's, to me, what cooking is about. That's why a lot of people go to restaurants and they'll say, hold the mayonnaise, hold the ketchup. That's a preference, right? So being a cook, as you cook for yourself as well as for your family and your friends, you get to determine the preference. Ain't that good? So my family has just gotten used to what it is that I think is great, which is good. They're pretty easy, I have to say. Mix up your fettuccine so that it doesn't get sticky. Now I would say cooking your fettuccine noodles for probably about 15 minutes. And again, to save time, what I will do is I will finish the video in its totality, and then we will have a picture at the end so you can see what it should look like before my husband eats it, right? So we're going to keep doing this for a little while. This is the part I was telling you takes a little bit of time. Hey, Stacy, thanks for joining me. It's It's a new name. I don't think I've seen you before. If you tag and share, that's very appreciative. I love that. Hey, there's my cousin. Love you too. It's my cousin Tracy. She is fab, fab, fab. I love her. She's so supportive and so freaking cute. So cute. So cute. So, where my other cousin at? I haven't seen her on here. My other cute cousin, Lisa. I seen her on Facebook a little while ago. I can just say, and I've been posting stuff about this, but my family are very attractive people. And I have to walk away giving them their props. Okay, this is pretty much done. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, here we go. We're getting ready to put the shrimp in. After you know that the fettuccine is in a good place, meaning that you like it, it has the right consistency, it's thick enough, but not too thick. Because if it's too thick, it's a quick fix. Just add water or add a little bit of broth. We're going to go ahead and add in the shrimp back into the fettuccine, as well as your onions and your mushrooms. Doesn't that look good? We pay $50 for this at Bravo's. And every time my family eats it, they're like, oh, man, can you make fettuccine? Now, just like we're using shrimp, I also use chicken. And I think someone was saying, can you use, what were they asking, babe? Scallops. Could we use scallop? Hey, sister-in-law. That's my sister-in-law, Carrie, on there. Thanks for joining me, boo. She's about to get married. Married. She all in love and stuff. I'll be seeing her on Facebook with all her love pictures. I love people in love. It's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing. I'm so excited for you, Carrie. You deserve it, girlie. She raised 3 beautiful girls. When I tell y'all they are beautiful and talented and smart, how you get all 3 of them? Just become a Yates, baby. It just happens naturally. I joined the clan and all type of good stuff started happening to me. So I'm going to go ahead and appreciate being a Yates. Thanks for joining me, Carrie. I really appreciate that. Okay, this is pretty much finished. What I'm going to do now, as I do every week, I will compile it into a plate and make sure you guys can see the finished product, and as well as on top of the noodles, because it's natural. I'm not going to assume that you already know. The noodles would go at the bottom just like spaghetti layer, and we would pour the fettuccine and the shrimp and the vegetables on top of it. And then at that point, you can put even more added Parmesan, just as little sprinkles on top. But like I said before, I'm going to take a pic of that so you can see it in its totality, so you'll know when you're making your meal how yours should come out. Now, as I say every week, I don't do any of this in vain. Everything I do is to help and not hinder. I try to provide an instrument and a tool and a resource to help make entertainment and hosting easier at home. We so many times are missing the mark because of cooking, because of not being social at home. But when we stop and we evaluate what are little things that I can do to help that process, one of the things is cooking. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you make entertainment a little easier. I would say that this is a good serving for 3 or 4 people. Invite a couple over to your house. Stop playing. You know that your friends have never seen your beautiful home. Great example of this. I went to an event yesterday. This girl, one of the ladies in Sisters with Voices group, her name is Michelle Dawson Powell, I want to say. She hosted the event. I knew she was fabulous, but it took me to be at her home and see all of her fabulous all together. It was amazing. I would have never known she was so talented. She's a designer. She's a hostess. She's a great cook. She's a great communicator. I mean, just all of these great things. And I would have never known that if she never invited me into her home. So this is why we have to let people come into our space. They get to know the genuine you. And maybe why you're not inviting them into your space is because you don't want them to know the genuine you. But this helps our next generation. Hosting and entertainment is a part of how we grew up, right? Why are we stopping it? So that's what I'm here for, to help you with the process. We don't do anything in vain. Again, continue to look up Draped in Elan for these beautiful, beautiful aprons. If you have time, go visit Bad Wolf at the Rib Festival. And I look forward to continuing to help guide you through the resources and tools of making entertainment easier at home. I'll see you next week. This is your Lifetime. Hey, Lifetime! Who am I, babe? I forget sometimes. I talk so much. I am your lifestyle expert, Rita Fuller-Yates, and I'll see you next time.